What's up, crew? I'm Waka here for my first video, and in this video I will be talking about the one and only Larry Bird, and I will be telling you 5 stories that prove that he is one of the greatest basketball players to ever step on a basketball court. Number 1. Setting the Garden record with 60 points. Kevin McHale scored 56 points to break the Boston Garden record in 1986. Larry Bird immediately predicted the record would fall, and less than 2 weeks later, Bird went out and scored 60 versus the Atlanta Hawks on an area of shots that has to be seen to be appreciated. The story from that night is that Larry was so hot, he was calling his shots every time down the floor, taunting the helpless Hawk players trying to guard him, and near the end of the game called from the trainer's lap. And he came down and got fouled about 27 feet from the basket, threw the ball up, the shot went in, and he fell in the trainer's lap on purpose on the sidelines. Cameras caught 2 Atlanta players, Cliff Livingston and Eddie Johnson, going nuts in amazement on the bench after that play, standing up, high-fiving, laughing because they could not believe what they had just seen. To quote Quinn Buckner, Bird's teammate in Boston at the time, Larry was so good that night, the Hawks were giving each other 5s. Number 2, the steal. Isaiah Thomas is one of the greatest point guards in NBA history and was good at making decisions and coming through in the clutch. But in Game 5 of the 1987 Eastern Conference Finals versus Boston, he had a chance to seal the game with a simple inbounds pass after Bird had lost the ball out of bounds with 5 seconds left. And Thomas did inbound the ball, making a simple pass to wide open Bill Laimbeer just a few feet away from the Boston basket. But out of nowhere, like a superhero, Bird flew and stole the pass and assisted Dennis Johnson for the winning bucket. Number 3. The Xavier McDaniel game winner. Xavier McDaniel tells the story with a sense of awe, which is what makes it so good. Bird was notorious for telling guys he was going to shoot it in their face and then doing it, but no one has a version quite like this one. Boston was tired on the road at Seattle late in the game and Boston called timeout. Celtics coach Casey Jones called the play for Dennis Johnson, but Bird nixed it in the huddle. He determined he would get the ball when they broke the huddle. He walked up to McDaniel, who was guarding him, and said, "I'm getting the ball and I'm going to shoot it right here in your face and win this game." And then the play happened. Bird got the ball and shot it in the same exact spot he told McDaniel he would, and made it exactly as he told McDaniel he would, and won the game. And McDaniel says Bird looked at him as if to say, "I didn't mean to leave 2 seconds on the clock." Number 4. Calling himself and his teammates a bunch of sissies. Bird didn't enjoy the limelight and was a man of few words in the media. But when he did speak, what he said had potency. And after enduring an epic 33-point finals massacre in Los Angeles in Game 3 of the finals in 1984, Larry didn't mince words. He said he and his teammates played like a bunch of sissies. And this is part of what made Bird such a great player and leader. Instead of being offended by this, his teammates responded to having their manhood challenged. McCade clotheslined Rambis. Cedric Maxwell taunted James Worthy with a shocking symbol. Bird didn't just talk, he walked it by getting in Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's face one point and shoving Michael Cooper unnecessarily on an inbounds play. These things changed the tone and the direction of the series completely, as Boston forced overtime just 1 game after being blown out, and for good measure, Bird nailed the clutch shot of the game, breaking a 123-123 tie in the final minute of overtime, which proved to be the winning shot. The Celtics won the series for their 2nd championship in 4 years. Number 5. The concussion comeback. Towards the end of his career, Bird was a mess of injuries. He would wear a back brace at night when he slept, get up and go to practice or to the game, and then come home and put on the back brace again. In 1991, the Celtics were tied 2-2 in a 5-game first-round series with the Indiana Pacers. The night before Game 5, Larry Bird spent the whole night in the hospital due to pain in his back, but Larry would have played in a wheelchair if he had to. So he was in the lineup. Just before halftime, Bird made a bad pass that got stolen, and in an attempt to save the ball, he dived on the floor but slipped and slammed his head in the Garden parquet floor. He was diagnosed by the team trainer with a concussion and was told his night was over. With Bird out, Boston got down in the third quarter to the Pacers. The players were dejected and the crowd was restless, but Bird defied orders, and when the trainer turned his back, walked out of the training room and back onto the court. Like the cavalry, the crowd came alive. The mood in the building shifted, and with 32 points, Larry Bird led the comeback to win the series. So thank you guys for watching. Please hit the like button and subscribe.